Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Formula One 30 minutes on a Monday night. I am the Governor. Welcome in. I'm glad you could make it, and I hope you're getting comfy, as Steve would say, and grabbing a beverage. It's going to be a fantastic show. This is the last week. We are heading into race week, as Steve has proclaimed all over social media. He's very excited. I think Neil's very excited. Welcome in, Ollie. Glad you could make it. ITFC tweet him. Williams podium, you heard it here first. ITSC Tweedies had those green shoots, it seems. This Town Football Club were right in about a couple of weeks. A Williams podium. Well, on that basis, let's bring in our resident F1 aficionado, the man, the myth, the legend. Mr. Thompson, how are you?
I'm well, yourself?
I'm very well. ITFC Tweedy, Williams podium, you heard it here first.
I love that positivity. Yeah, it's good.
Is it positivity or is it borderline just outrageous?
Mindless optimism. No, I like it. It's positive. It's I wish I could agree. I really do.
I don't.
Regular points. But, some points throughout the year, but I can't see a podium yet.
Absolutely. Stay Casual's not yet quite convinced by Formula One. He thinks it's as boring as tits on a fish. I don't know. I think it'd be quite funny, though, wouldn't that? I mean, I've never seen a tits on a fish.
No, it's an image. There's a lot more to it than a lot of people realise, I think. So,
I mean, what sort of fish?
Yeah.
Goldfish, a comet, a koi carp? I mean, we need more information on this tits on a fish.
You're gonna have to. There's a lot of fish out there. You have to narrow it down.
There's an awful lot of fish. Plenty of fish. There's a website dedicated to fish. So, yes, Williams, ITFC Tweedy. That's a little bit outrageous, I feel. Joining us this evening and on the lineup is our resident, almost as positive as Stay Casual.
Wake up to the wow. Wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got dressed with no lights on. I Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check spin like a cyclone. Wake up to the money, turn me right on.
Yeah, but we're crap. We're not going to dominate any team.
Hello, Neil.
Bonjour, Treacle.
Bonjour, Treacle. Ollie's gone. I'm not going to say what Ollie's gone for at 7:20 on a Monday night. But how are we? How are we, Neil? You well? I know it's terrible, isn't it?
I'm superb.
You're super. Oh, okay. Hello, Sue. Look, last week, we're entering race week. Okay, there's excitement. We're starting to find out what we think about the teams. Final predictions need to be made. We've got the wheel. Steve, I'm going to put you on to Twitter in 5 seconds, and I want you to give your best pitch to Twitter as to why they should jump and use the link and watch this show. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Steve, give Twitter your best pitch as to why they should watch this show.
Well, it's going to be a good season. There's a lot to play for this season. We've got returning drivers. We've got someone after a record-breaking 8th world championship. There's teams that weren't in the mix last year that could be in the mix year. There's teams that were in the mix that might not be in the mix this year. So what's not to love about F1 in 2021?
Absolutely. Steve, you absolutely killed it. Love it.
Pressure.
Come and join us on YouTube, those on Twitter. So, Neil, you excited for race week?
Of course I am.
Of course you are. Is that exciting?
Finally get to see where the pecking order is.
Absolutely. We've got some wonderful topics on our wheel, 4 to be precise. I've got a few I'm going to throw in there if we've got time. We've got what can we expect from Fernando Alonso? Can Mercedes sort their issues out? New Saudi Arabia circuit revealed. And how will Haas get on with 2 rookies? As always, the wheel is random and it will dedicate where we go. First and foremost, we have got a little bit of Formula One fantasy news. Neil, do you want to tell the folks at home what you've been up to this afternoon?
I just created my team and a fantasy league for individuals that follow us here can come and join us.
Absolutely.
See if you pip your team up against ours and see if you can beat us.
Yes, absolutely. Let me read you the advertisement I will be putting out on social media. Can you beat the HDR F1 experts? That's them two, not me. I'm going to be last place. I'm going to tell you that now. The lads have set up a fan of F1 Fantasy League. Join us, subscribe to the channel, and see if you can beat our experts. There will be a prize for the overall winner, and the weekly point winners will be also entered into a final separate prize. However, I'm not going to go point fishing, to use an earlier phrase. Bring fish back into the situation. So if your weekly points total, drop it in the live chat or the comments of each week's video, and I will make sure you're added into the weekly total. And if you come out on top, you get into another draw. At the season, we'll have the weekly winners and we'll have the overall winner. I'm looking forward to it. Not quite sure what the prizes will be just yet, so keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. But can you beat these two? That's what I want to know. Can you beat these two?
Undoubtedly.
Undoubtedly, he said. We tried this last year. Neil set up a league last year, and then the very next day, the Prime Minister of the country announced that lockdown would be being brought into effect. So if it happens again, Neil, I'm holding you responsible.
Fair play.
All right? Because obviously that's the omen. That is the omen that we're all going to need. Welcome in, Callie. Welcome in, Sean. I'm glad you could make it. Right, on to tonight's topics. I have spun the wheel. The wheel is doing its wonderful.
I like Sean's positivity there.
It's good.
Yeah.
You'd like that. More of that.
Well, I think it might be. We'll get into that a little bit, I think, as the evening progresses. But first of all, how will Haas, Team Russia, get on with two rookies this year, Mr. Thompson? Kick us off with that debate.
The American team with the Italian engine and the Russian money.
You couldn't get more confused.
There you go.
I think
they'll struggle. They will struggle because they've said they're not going to be developing the car this year anyway, because they're going to be focusing on 2022, which you can sort of understand from a smaller team at the back of the grid. They want to get a head start on everyone else and try and get back to sort of where they were a couple of years ago. But I think it's very bad. I think they're going to struggle. It's going to be hard to watch, especially for Mick Schumacher, I think, because there's a lot of fanfare about him coming into the sport and he's going to be given a total crap car to drive. So, and it's never going to get upgraded.
Is it a really bad car then, Neil? Or can it surprise people?
It might surprise on how bad it is.
So I might go the wrong direction. How do you think they're going to fare?
It'll be tail end of the midfield.
Is that realistically the ambition for them anyway? As in,
that's as far as it's going to push, as far as I'm concerned. Mick Schumacher also has struggled every series he's gone to for the first season. It's pretty much like a warm-up season, and so he generally goes in slow, learns what that is all about. So each individual formula he's gone to has always gone in slow and then progressed on from there. So this might actually help him out, to be fair.
Yeah, Sean Talman can't be as bad as the Williams, Steve.
I liked you, Sean, with that comment about Max, but it's going to be a battle at the back of the grid between Williams and Haas. I think Williams are just going to edge it because they've got two experienced drivers now, one of whom is very, very good. And Haas have got two rookies with an undeveloped car.
Bottas are going to be champion this year. Steve, next week we debut the weekly segment known as Bemoaning Bottas. We may get a sneak preview here.
We've had some optimistic comments so far tonight. That is probably the most optimistic. But you never know. I mean, we said it every year, but you never know. He could come out of the blocks fighting again.
I think we do.
I think it's probably inevitable. The first couple of races, he'll be all right, and then he'll just sink back into the old Bottas we know.
Ollie Leach, what time does it start on Sunday, Steve?
Good question. I'm not sure yet.
Steve, you're the aficionado. Quickly, Google it. Neil, out of the two rookies for Haas, to bring that sort of that topic to a bit of a close, which one is going to be fare the better for you? It's a good question.
I think all I've got in mind is the Russian is not called Marzipan. But it's all I've got on my mind.
Marzipan.
But that's the one.
It's up here, son. Up here for thinking, down there for dancing.
I think he'll do better this season if Schumacher carries on as I said. This will be a steady learning curve for him, and Mazepin will be probably the quicker and the more or highest point scorer probably out of the two.
Taking what you know about Schumacher and how he approaches first seasons, is it key that the fans don't get too carried away, or the reverse, don't get too down if he doesn't live up to what Ollie's saying here? Mickey Schu has a lot to live up to given his pedigree, and he has. He's a Schumacher.
There's always been question marks. Would he be where he is without the name? In which there is an element of that, but he's always come out and said,
is he at the F1 world?
Yes, but he's always come out and said he's different from his father. He's his own person, and rate him as such.
Mm-hmm. So, but what would you say to the fans like Ollie that are saying he's got a huge pedigree? If by mid-season it's not panned out as you think it might not, what would you say to them right now? What would you do to tamper their expectation of the pedigree coming through?
I think the fact that his driving for Haas in a god-awful car, he'll be given a bit of leeway for that. I know the likes of Alonso and a few others have really shown their class in poor cars previous, but we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Mr. Thompson, what time does it kick off on Sunday?
Lights out, 4 p.m.
4 p.m. 4 p.m. Talking of which, about lights out, Mercedes, can they sort out their issues, or is it too late and it's going to be a failure season for them?
Well, there was a little comment from Callie a little while ago saying about Mercedes have always been good with their cars.
Callie, surely it's Hamilton's title to lose. Didn't he sign up for another year? Mercedes been good with their cars too.
Hamilton has signed up for another year. He's got 2021. Who knows what's going on with 2022? Mercedes obviously have been the dominant team since 2014. They always start preseason testing or sandbagging a bit because they'll come out and say, oh no, we think Red Bull are going to beat us this year, and then they get to the first race of the season and then they're 3 seconds a lap quicker than the next car. But this year it's got a different feel to it. The car did look a bit jittery. It's unlike Hamilton to make those sort of errors. So they've got what seems to be quite an unstable car with a few issues. I have no doubt that they'll sort it out. They've got the money, they've got the resources to sort out any issues. But whether they can do it in time for Bahrain, so we'll certainly see. But I really hope it's not their year.
Because Sean's saying failure seasons. What do you feel?
I hope it is.
I feel that it's going to be Mercedes yet again and Hamilton. I don't think Bottas, I can't see him doing anything different than he's done the last 2 seasons. He'll come in positive yet again and he'll end up just, being the same old. But Hamilton, there was a few interesting mistakes in practice, but it's practice, so let's or pre-season testing, shall I say?
You're 2 battled, wearied veterans that are used to the Mercedes enemy coming over the hill, looking battered and torn, and thinking, "Oh, we've got this. This could be the year." And then come race 3, they're looking like way and above.
In 2014, it was quite refreshing because you'd had about 4 years of Red Bull dominance. So it was like, we've got a different team now. And then in 2015, hopefully someone can challenge them. All right, maybe not. Maybe 2016 then. All right, maybe 2017. And it's been going on every year. Maybe we're thinking at the start of every year, can someone actually challenge Mercedes? And no one can, apart from Ferrari a few years back. And that sort of petered out. I
just want this to be Red Bull season again. I want them to push on.
Steve, is Ollie you? Are you secretly typing this? Because he says, am I the only person that cannot stand Hamilton?
No,
I can't stand him either.
I'm with you on that one, Ollie. I cannot stand him. I was so funny to see him spinning off in testing. I can't stand him. Cannot stand him.
Daniel Barnard, Hamilton's the king, like King Callie, and Callie's loving it. Steve, there's a new track in this one in this year's F1, or I'll say new track. It's Saudi Arabia. Talk to me about that before we come on to 2 rather interesting topics in the chat about surprise packages and 3 back into the championship drivers and constructors. So first of all, Saudi Arabia. What's What's going on there?
Yeah, the first Grand Prix in Saudi Arabia. I think it's the Jeddah circuit. It looks crap, and it's probably going to be yet another naff street circuit, which F1 doesn't need. I'm all for F1 returning to older circuits. Circuits that have got racing history and pedigree, and they've got gravel traps, and they're sort of tight and twisting and windy. And they did a virtual lap of it, and it just looks awful. There's 2, maybe 3 places which could potentially be good for overtaking. It's just money.
I saw the layout, and I didn't really bother looking any further than that. I just thought new circuit. Yeah.
Well, I saw the layout.
Not going to be that great.
I saw the layout, and then I saw this virtual lap they did, and I thought, all right, well, I'll give it a watch and see, because there could be some good spots on it. And after the lap, I thought, this is shit. There's 2-3 decent bits of overtaking on there, and it's just another sort of money talks sort of thing. We raced in Turkey last year for the first time in a long time, and it was a great race. Obviously helped with by the conditions because it was quite miserable.
Yeah, back there. What's the fastest track going to be on the calendar then?
Monza. Or would it be Belgium? Spa?
I would say Monza. Apart from the sort of that we've got the 2 right-handers, the 2 Lesmos and the chicanes.
Callie's gone. From an aerial view, it looks like an iron siding with a bent handle. Possibly. Daniel Barnard, what do you think of the talk of the London Grand Prix? I've not heard this talk. Have either of you?
It depends how new it is. I've heard of the old talk, not anything that's recent. And the fact that the old way Formula One used to be was it would be a Thursday to like a Sunday job at the very minimum. And London aren't willing to close up the whole, centre, basically, disrupt all the traffic and everything for that long. Where you've got Formula E is a couple of days max.
Plus, you've got Silverstone.
Close it. Sorry?
Plus, you've got Silverstone, which relies on F1, right?
Yeah. Well, you've got a lot of tracks in this country, but not many of them are up to the standards of Formula One. So, yeah, we have Silverstone. It's a good track. And, it's expensive. So do we need to spend more money on having another track in this or race in this country?
Got a few questions about the title. We've got Sean that said McLaren will be a surprise package. We've got Jay Quick 12. Perez is a dark horse for the title. And then Callie asked a bit further on down the chat, and we're going to bring that up now. Who are you three backing for who are you two backing for the championship drivers and constructors? So if you had to list them, who would you be backing? And then I'll ask you who you think your surprise package will be this year, who your dark horses are.
Driver-wise, I am going to back Verstappen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, to be fair, Red Bull for constructors as well. Because this year they've got Verstappen and Perez is so consistent. And a surprise package, Perez. So Red Bull as a whole this year.
He's been drinking the Red Bull.
I like Daniel there. Have a F1 race going through the town centre.
The Stowmarket Grand Prix.
Yeah, there's
gridlock by Jokers. What used to be Jokers.
Yeah. What was the comment before that one, Martin? That's the one. Yeah, I've been to see touring cars around Brands Hatch. It's a good track.
I've never been to Brands Hatch. I have to be honest. I haven't been to many racetracks actually. I'm going to chuck it out there. So Neil,
Snetterton's just up the road, so that's another one I've been to.
Yes, you certainly have. So who are you backing then, Neil?
Can you really say anyone other than Hamilton and Mercedes?
Well, Daniel Barnard can't. Hamilton, Mercedes, simple. Steve's been drinking the Red Bull, probably with some vodka or some Jaeger.
No, it's not my thing.
No, not your thing. No. But
are
you really going to go for a Hamilton? Are you really going for a Mercedes sort of across the board, Neil? Are you really going to be that sort of? I dare say it, Neil, but plain, ready salted crisps. Like, just not going to offend anybody, but
the Korma.
You're not going to offend anybody, but you're not going to tantalise and please and all those things.
There's the hope inside me that wants it to be a Red Bull season with Max and Perez to really push and show what he can deliver. That's what I really want, but I can't see anything other than Hamilton and Mercedes, and then Red Bull picking up all the rest of the pieces.
Callie, call my moles. Love it. Call my moles. Sam Whitten's hoping Gasly has a good season. Daniel Barnard. No, that's Pickled Onion Crisps, mate. Nice and sharp. Talk to me about Fernando Alonso. What can we expect from him this year then? Steve?
I think he'll hit the ground running because he seems to have done very well in testing. It just almost looked like he'd never been away. He was just meticulous with his lap times and his precision. I think like we expected any different from someone of his caliber. So I think he'll be good. I think he can wipe the floor with Ocon this year because Ocon got soundly beaten by Ricciardo. So I would say consistent point scorer, maybe the odd podium because the Alpine does look quick. So I'd say, yeah, he's got the outside shot of a couple of podiums, especially if things happen to the front runners, like the Red Bulls, the Mercedes. If not, solid points.
Okay. Neil?
Well, I rate Ricciardo in a similar way as Alonso, that he'll get more out of the car than his teammate. But, yeah, before I saw him at pre-season testing, I thought he would be a bit rusty and not very good. But he soon showed me, and he hasn't lost any of it, has he?
No, he certainly hasn't. I'm looking forward to seeing him race. Could be quite a decent little thing to keep an eye on. Callie said was a massive Alonso fan, excited to see him back. See, I've heard it's almost like a legend return. I'm a big wrestling fan. A legend returning to wrestling. You hear a lot about him. You didn't grow up watching him or whatever. So it's like, okay, let's see what this really well-respected or well thought of driver can do. It can go one of two ways, right? It can either go really well or he'll flop better than Tom Daly does.
But there was talk because was it the guy who pretty much is in charge was Renault. He ended up basically going out the door when Alonso came in, and there was words that pretty much Alonso said things weren't being run as they should. So I guess Alonso's got something to do with the fact that he went and trying to push the team on, because they had like a 5-year plan of their own, and they wanted to basically be champions, but it hadn't happened, and now they've rebranded themselves basically, and hoping that they'll be able to do it this time.
A new comment from somebody I've not seen before. Raul, welcome in. I'm glad you could make it this evening. We're here every Monday, 7:15. Your half an hour of tantalizingly good F1 chat with these two. Not me. I'm just here for I got the numbers. Imagine Vettel getting beat by Lance.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Oh, why not? I don't know what I'd do if Lance Stroll beats Vettel. I think I'll just stop watching Formula One.
Lance might be the nicest chap in the world, but the fact is, I only believe he's there because of his dad, and he's gone as far as buying a team to give him a seat. And that's
a pretty big claim there, Neil. Pretty big claims.
I'm not Vettel's biggest fan. He's done things to irritate me, but I don't want to see him go out of the championship with a whimper, and the way he did last season, that's dreadful. So I hope for his sake that he can improve again.
Ollie says, don't mention 5-year plans. PTSD for town fans, that. We've heard all about 5-year plans.
Well, Towns was a 5-point plan, weren't it? Have we made 5 points yet?
It was a 5-minute plan. Daniel Barnard, shame the great Murray as past commentary has never been the same since. Steve, obviously, you said some words on Murray last week. I think we can all agree with that.
I don't mind Martin Brundle. I think he's okay.
Brundle, I think, learned a lot from Murray because after Brundle retired from Formula One, he went into commentary alongside Murray. So I think having him as his mentor for the first few years sort of molded him a little bit with less mistakes. And Brundle is a great commentator. A few can be a bit hit and miss, but I love Ted Kravitz. He's brilliant. I know he's not a commentator, but he's a proper pundit, and he's fantastic. But yeah, Brundle's a brilliant commentator. But
I just love
no
how
one's
he
as-
just
I was like Murray.
he just swans around with a shopping bag full of cheese and in his
Yeah.
shorts, and it's like, oh, I've got these what was it, sandy coloured shorts, so that once the sandstorm had hit, he could sit down or touch any of it and it'd be fine. And he rubbed a bit on his shorts and was like, nope, still stains. It's like
he's a character. He's a character.
it's so unprofessional. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Bruce Eyre wonders what the odds are between on Lance beating Seb. He'd put a tenner on it. Is that a bet you two would take up?
I would say Seb probably more likely to beat Lance.
Ooh.
Yeah, Lance is too inconsistent for me. He
I
got
think-
well and truly
Neil
done
think-
by Perez last year.
I think it'll be
Neil's thinking
quite
about
tight. It'll be tighter than you want it to be. I reckon it could come down to a couple of points different.
It's going to be
But
it's going to be closer than
on-
people probably want to admit, because Lance has been there now for a good few years. He knows the ins and outs of the team. He knows the car. He drove it last year. It's going to come down to racecraft and consistency.
If it's going down to points or finishing positions, because if it's on how many points they get, it will depend purely on how good the car is. If that car is good enough to finish in the points every race, then yeah, it will be a lot different to if they're in Williams' position, where you're scrabbling around for every little point and then someone could just get lucky. Lance could have a lucky one and do a Gasly.
Ollie says Lance couldn't beat an egg. Daniel Barnard, Vettel reminds me of Steve Evans of Formula One. Sid's, welcome in, Sid. He's always like Vettel. And Sam asked for the code for the F1 Fantasy. So we'll just recap for those that weren't here maybe at the start of today's show. We are doing an F1 Fantasy League. The link is in the chat. Just dropped it in. You are all welcome to join. You just follow the link and then use the code, which I'm now also going to drop into the chat. We will be doing prize giveaways for the F1 Fantasy. Let me just read you the little advert we've got for it. It says, beat the HDR F1 experts. That's them two, not me. The lads have set up an F1 Fantasy League. Join us and then subscribe to the channel and see if you can beat our experts. Overall winner will receive a prize. So the overall winner, not one of these two. If it is one of these two, we'll go to second. Will receive a prize.
What's the point then?
Because you two are the experts. So they claim.
Pull your tongue.
Weekly point winners will also be entered into a final separate prize, but you must put your weekly points in the live chat or the comments of the video that week. I'm not going to be chasing points. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm too busy. But if you drop it, I'll do the rest. Code is now in the chat. Good luck. Have fun. And our last topic this evening is a question from me personally to you two. It was something that caught my eye. It was McLaren signed long-term deal with a 13-year-old American karting ace. Is that something that happens as a norm in Formula One, or is that a rare occasion?
I guess the fact that McLaren have quite a few links now with America, having what's his name, the guy that basically gets the sponsors in and tries to get McLaren working on a daily basis how they should. He's got he's American, and then you've got the fact that Arrow McLaren is SP over in IndyCar. So that there is lots of ties with America within the team now, and so I'm not surprised that there is one. And we've never really seen a great. We had, was it Scott Speed? And who else? Was there someone else? But
I think the most recent driver was
really...
Alex Rossi, but he wasn't in for very long. He had a few races with Manor, 2015, 2016, I want to say. But there's never been, well, not for a long time. There's not been an American driver where you thought this guy, could be great. I mean, you've had obviously American champions in the past, Mario Andretti and Phil Hill, but that's back in the 50s, 70s, whatever. So it's been a while since we've had a decent American driver in the sport, I think.
And to a new fan like myself, what does that mean? What does McLaren sort of? Did McLaren pay the driving fees for the young driver? What does that mean when they've signed him?
As far as taking rookies on, pretty much you as a team, you're then their mentor. You fund them. It's pretty much like the Red Bull program, the Ferrari program, the Mercedes program. You got people from the teams will go to karting events and different formulas around the world, check out the talent, and they'll pretty much go to the parents, depending on how old they are. Go to their parents and say, "We think your kid's good. They've got it. We'll fund his." Because karting isn't a cheap thing to do, let alone go into all the other formulas, and pretty much get you to Formula One if you keep performing.
Okay. We've got a question in the chat from Sid. In all seriousness, how does the fantasy league for F1 work? Neil, how does it work?
You pick 5 drivers. Was it 100 million budget you've got? You pick 5 drivers, you pick one team, and then you've got you can select one of them straight away to be. Do they give you double points?
Yeah, you get one driver which is called your turbo driver, which
That's
you can
the one.
choose.
Basically, your team captain in fantasy Premier League football, right?
You get
Basically,
double points from them.
Double points.
And then I haven't
George
read
Russell,
the full list of the T's and C's to for all the different rules there are, but yeah, pretty much the race happens and we'll find out what points we get via our selection we've got.
Say, we're going to break. Actually, let's go through your 2 teams to try and give the guys and girls at home a little bit of a flavour of what they should do or the path they should follow.
I know what they should do. Don't copy what I've done because you'll do dreadful.
So, Neil, what is your team? Please tell us your team, my man.
First selection for me was Perez.
Okay. Why?
Because I hope that I didn't want to go Mercedes and Hamilton. I just thought, what's the point of doing one of these and just choosing them two? Yeah, but then you've got to work out. Does it work out best to have them two and no one else score anything? Because you'll be picking a whole load of dross otherwise. That's barely going to score any points. Because then both Hamilton and Mercedes will blow most of your budget. So yeah, I didn't want either of those two. So I went for Perez because I also thought if I want some other decent drivers, then Max will take too much of the budget. Okay. So I went Perez.
Steve?
Ricardo. Okay. Yep. No, let Steve do it that way. Yeah.
We'll
Steve, who's your first pick?
My first pick, it's not surprising, is it? It's George Russell.
What?
Seriously?
Steve's not got the memo. Steve's not got the memo.
He'll score points.
But for the guys and girls at home, how many points did George Russell get last year?
2.
The same amount we did.
Yeah.
He got 2 in a Mercedes, not a Williams, but it's fine.
Hold up. Are we sure that if Mercedes suddenly don't have another issue with coronavirus or illness or whatever, does George Russell get points for whatever car he drives in, or does it have to be in a Williams car?
He gets points for whatever car he's driving.
Yeah.
See, that's a stealth-like move from Steve there, because if something catastrophic happens and we're still living COVID times, you could be getting points off Russell.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I would say that's why I did it, but that's not why I did it. I just did it because it's George Russell. But now I think about it, yes, it's very clever, and I actually meant to do that. So yes.
Sam's going for a Bottas, Max, Norris, Gasly, Giovinazzi, and Ferrari constructor. Nils, who's your number 2 pick?
I know his Giovinazzi choice was purely he was scraping on his budget.
Blown it all on Bottas and Max.
Could have changed Russell.
See, that's what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to go for all of them higher ones and then end up having to go for Russell and Ferrari.
See, I reckon Ferrari are going to cost him there. Ferrari are going to just that's going to
choice.
It's not a good from my point of view. From what I've heard about Ferrari and their woes, I would.
They might surprise us. We don't know.
It would
Who's
be
your
a
second
surprise.
choice, Neil?
Yep.
My second choice was Ricciardo because keeping with my not going with the top three, which was Hamilton, Max, and Bottas for how much they cost. After Perez, it was Ricciardo. So, and he's with my team that I'm hoping will also do brilliant.
Yeah,
True.
He can pull something out of the bag, get good podiums. So let's hope he does.
Steve?
Daniel Ricciardo, second choice for me as well.
Danny Ricciardo. Wow. Okay. Third choices then.
I got a little bit stumped on where I was going to go with it. I was thinking possibly Vettel, but then I thought if the Aston Martin didn't look great, it's not going to get me many points. I also thought Leclerc, but then the Ferrari looks fairly pants as well. So I thought no. And I ended up going with Norris.
Lando.
My team again. The only problem with doing that is that's two people from my team. And if McLaren happen to have a bad weekend or are just bad in general, then I lose out because that's both drivers for one team.
No surprises there that Neil's gone for Nat Lando. Norris, he's got the fortunate thing, Steve, that his driver's better than yours, but you've both gone for your favourite driver. Doubt. That's nice. Well, I don't know if he's better driver. He's obviously in a better car. That we do know.
They're both fantastic drivers. They really are.
I think Lando's probably edging it. But Steve?
I'm not sure. After seeing Russell's performance in that Mercedes, when...
Have you seen Lando in a Mercedes?
You never will.
How can you compare?
The apples and oranges.
Exactly. So it's all fruit. Steve?
Third choice, Charles Leclerc. Because he got more out of that Ferrari last year than we ever thought possible. So if Ferrari made a step forward this year, which it looks like they have, it still looks a little bit crap. But
it's got to be on the road, Steve. It's got to be on the track.
Than last year. So
if it's not on the track, it ain't earning points.
It'll be fine. Charles Leclerc, he can do wonders.
He'd have to. Jay Crick's gone for Hamilton, Stroll. Help me out with that pronunciation. I'm still too new for that. Sainz, Norris, Russell, and McLaren's constructors. Who's our fourth choices then?
I went Alonso. I thought, even though I don't believe Alpine are going to be that great, I thought, like with Ricciardo, Alonso can make it do wondrous things. So,
well, I toyed with Alonso as well, basically for that reason. But I went with Vettel because I think the Aston, although it looks a little bit hit and miss in testing, I think this year you're going to see Vettel back to more like his old self. There's no pressure of Ferrari. He's got a new team, new atmosphere. He seems happier. So I think he could be a good shout.
That's the positivity I wanted. I just, after, pre-season, last season of seeing Vettel and pre-season seeing the Aston, I just weren't convinced.
I don't think of Alpine. I just think of muesli. I'm sorry. Next,
I went Tsunoda. After seeing him in pre-season, I just thought Gasly's shown everyone up, but he punched in some good lap times, and I'm hoping he's not going to be too rookie this season. That was my form of, the other guys choosing of Giovinazzi. You're looking at what can I how can I work my budget? But no, I think after seeing him, I'm hoping good things for him.
Daniel Barnes says I need to get involved. Dan, I will be doing it as well. Don't worry. I'm just not brave enough to say my choices on the show, and I haven't done them yet. Steve?
Kimi Räikkönen, because you can't go wrong with a bit of Kimi. Consistent, still got the hunger. It looked impressive in testing as well. I think provided that Alpha can compete with the guys around it, it'll show them how it's done.
I like that. I might go in with a bit of Kimi myself.
I wouldn't.
No. What is buyer beware with Kimi?
There's nothing with Kimi. It's the fact that the car's not great.
That was my biggest concern because the Alpha wasn't great last year. But if they can make some improvements this year, which it looks like they've done, if they can do that. And I think if there is going to be a fight around that sort of midfield, Kimi will be one of the leaders of it. So it's a bit of an outside shot.
Keep the receipt.
Yeah.
Buyer beware. Keep the receipt. No return after 21 days. Is there a transfer market in this? In the sense of can you make a transfer midway through a point or after a certain number of weeks, or do we know
you
that?
Do substitutions, can't you?
Ooh.
I have no idea. I didn't read
Kimi's
that far
on my
into it.
substitutions list right now. So is George.
Daniel Barnard's just sent me his team. Daniel, just drop it in the chat if I can read this out on the show or not. If I can, obviously just say yes. If not, say no. What about our team then, boys?
I went Red Bull.
Same.
That's a good shout. To be fair, you both went Red Bull. I'd probably go with Red Bull. But now I can't.
I wanted to go McLaren, but then I thought they're too outside. They're not going to get me enough. So,
well, my heart wanted Williams, but that's hopeless.
So this is Daniel's. Hamilton, good shout. I like that. I might go. I'm probably going to go Hamilton myself. 100% nailed on. You go for the GOAT. And you hope the car works itself out.
Perez not racing this year. Felipe Massa's retired, mate.
Yeah. All right. Perez, Raikkonen, Gasly, Russell.
Yes, nice one, Daniel.
And Ferrari.
Just so you know, it's Gasly.
Gasly? No, it's Gasly. No, it's Gasly. Believe me, it's Gasly. It's Gasly. That team is Gasly. I know what I was saying. Thank you. I know exactly what I was saying. I saw what was coming next. I was more Gasly, Russell. You just didn't see it. So yeah, there we go.
What was his team?
What was it? Oh, Ferrari.
Oh, okay.
Sam Whitten. Hamilton is pretty much half the budget. Oh, yeah, okay.
That's why I didn't choose him or Mercedes.
Bottas. How cheap is Bottas? Because he's guaranteed second if the car was good.
20-something million, I think he was.
Was Hamilton 33, and then I think
Bottas was 23.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not too bad. That's probably a little bit better. You're working with a little bit better budget there.
It's a reliable shout because either way, Bottas he's going to be in the points. So you're going to score points with Bottas.
You are. It's true. Right, we're done for this week. Next week we'll be reviewing Bahrain. We will be looking at F1 Week 1 scores. As I said before, the link to the F1 fantasy is in the chat. It will also be in the comments. It will also be on social media from probably sort of later on today, straight tomorrow. So if you're watching this back, you can join any point between now and next week. We do implore you to do so. The more the merrier, the more the fun. And of course, once you've got your team, drop it in the comments of this video and we'll review it. And I'll send it to the lads and they can review it on the F1 WhatsApp group. And I'll give you their live thoughts and let you know what the experts think of the situation. But we are done. I am back at 8:30 for Talking Town Extra Time. But Stephen, Neil, enjoy your week off this week. There's no town midweek game. How lovely it is to say that.
Yes.
And I will see you two and the rest of the lovely chat after week 1. How exciting is that to say?
It's going to be good.
Absolutely. Hang on. We had a late entry from Sid Driver. Hamilton, Kimi, Vettel, Norris, Gio, and Aston Martin for your live reaction to that team.
He blew his budget on Hamilton, didn't he? Poor Sid. Fuck, and I've got to get Giovinazzi and Aston Martin. No, that's to be fair. Daniel Barnard's choices are pretty good, but if you get Hamilton, you've blown your budget and you've got to put up with that prick. So
we are live still.
I don't care.
I don't
care. No, I don't. It's all live.
But Hamilton will gain in points. I just can't see the Alpha being that great. So both Kimi and Gio are not going to score him much. But Vettel and Aston might make up for it.
Oh, we'll wait. We'll see. But that was a live reaction and a half. We love you. We'll see you in week 1.